Hey everyone, Aaron and Kim here, back for our 5th day in our 12-day Christmas devotional. And so far we have been having so much fun doing this and connecting with you all. And today we are going to delve into a new aspect of the Christmas story. So just stay tuned and Pastor Aaron will take it away for us.
Pastor Aaron. Thanks for that introduction, Sister Kim. Alright guys, so today we're going to deal with a character. We mention him in passing in the Christmas story, but I see something very, very, specific and very, very relevant to us today, in the times that we are living. And this character that I want to speak about today, it's a guy, his name I had problems pronouncing as a child, or problems remembering. His name is, do you all know what it is? Do you know what it is? Not Melchizedek. Caesar Augustus. Right, so Caesar Augustus. Yeah. So guys, we hear about this guy in passing, but who is Caesar Augustus? Where did this guy get this kind of name from? Yeah. So guys, you history lovers out there, you might know about this guy called Caesar Augustus. He's actually there in history. He's a real guy. Because guys, everything that we're speaking about in this Christmas story, it's real life things. Even though we call it a story, it's real life events. It's real facts. And history documents that there was this guy called Caesar Augustus around the time that the Bible says Jesus was born. Yeah. So who is this strange named person, Caesar Augustus? So he was the emperor of the Roman Empire at that point in time. So guys, Rome, they were like the superpower. They had the whole world at their knees, at their feet, and they were like the ruling empire at that point in time. And every empire, it needs a person in charge. And that was Caesar Augustus. And history records that he was one of the most prominent, he was one of even one of the most famous Caesars that Rome had ever had. But what part did he have to play in this Christmas story? So let's jump straight in. I have 3 T's. First T, he was a tyrant. Yeah. So we call him Caesar Augustus now, but in those days, those guys would have called him a tyrant because he ruled. He was the superpower. Whatever he wanted, he got. Whatever he wanted, he could have taken by force. Yeah. He was a tyrant. Whatever he feel like doing, he just did it. And you know what is one of the things that he felt like doing?
What's that?
He felt like taxing the entire world.
What?
Taxing, guys. He just felt like, hey, I'm just going to tax the entire world right now because I just want some extra spending money, right? So guys, we know we don't like this taxing thing. So this man, Caesar Augustus, he was the emperor and he was like the minister of finance at the same time. So he come up with a tax. And guys, I know as soon as we hear that word tax, our brains just explode. Yeah. Income tax, property tax, we hear about online shopping tax. So guys, this Caesar, he came up with a tax to tax the entire known world at that point in time. But you want to know something? What was the purpose, or what part did this tyrant and this tax have to play in this big Christmas story? Do you know? Let me tell you what. Yeah, at least this is what I get from it. Many times, guys, we look at tyrants and we look at taxes and say, why do we have to go through this? But you know that God used that tyrant and he used that tax to fulfill Bible prophecy.
Really?
Yeah. Because there was a prophecy in the book of Micah, alright? There's a prophecy in the book of Micah, and Micah prophesied that this Messiah, this ruler that everybody was looking forward to, he was going to come from a place called Bethlehem. Yeah, he was going to come from a place called Bethlehem. And Mary and Joseph, they were not in Bethlehem at that point in time when Mary was pregnant and was about to give birth. So there had to be a way to bring Mary and Joseph into Bethlehem so that this prophecy would have been fulfilled.
That's amazing.
And God used this tyrant with his grand idea of a tax to bring Mary and Joseph into Bethlehem. Because how the tax was, you had to go back to your place of birth in order to pay the tax. Yeah? And Mary and Joseph, they were born in Bethlehem. So they had to go back to Bethlehem to pay this tax. And it so happened, baby Jesus popped out there. Water bag burst, she went into labor, bam, baby born. Yeah? And that happened in Bethlehem. And I find it was so amazing that, hey, God, we might have been looking and saying, wait, this hard times, we had a tax, we had to travel here, this tyrant in power making we do this and that. But God used that situation to bring about his purpose and to fulfill biblical prophecy. What's the purpose of all this, Kim? The reason why I say all this is because I feel as though this is relevant to us today. Right now, guys, sometimes we feel as though, hey, we are facing tyrants every day. Whether it be with boss in work, whether it be our teacher in school, whether it be our husband or our wife, we feel like, hey, we're facing a tyrant who just wants to demand things. And many times we feel as though we are being taxed. Literally, guys, we are being taxed. Yeah. Sometimes we feel even taxed emotionally. We feel taxed spiritually. We feel taxed physically. Every single day that we live, we feel taxed. But I want you to know today that no matter what you're going through right now, no matter what your circumstance and what your situation, feel like I'm preaching here, Kim. Yeah, guys, let me get a little bit more friendly with this, guys. No matter what situation you're going through, no matter what circumstance you're going through, no matter how hard life is and times are right now, I want you to know that God could fulfill some prophecy, could fulfill some plan in your life through that situation that you're going through. He did it with Mary, he did it with Joseph, he did it with Jesus, and he can do it with you. God can use any situation, a taxing situation, a tyrant. He can use it to bring about his plan in your life. All you have to do is just be faithful to him and just wait on him, and he will fulfill it. I always have this quote that I say. Do you know one of my quotes that might relate to this, Kim?
I can't remember which one.
Okay, good. Yeah. Right, so let me say it quickly. Yeah. There's a quote that I always like to say. It's one of my personal quotes. It says that I don't believe that everything happens according to God's plan, but I believe that God has a plan for everything that happens. I know there might be some people out there who are saying, what? What did he just say? Everything doesn't happen according to God's plan? That's what I believe. And let me explain myself. I don't believe that it's God's plan for children to be harmed. It's never God's plan for divorce to take place. It's never God's plan for murder and kidnapping and rape. It's never God's plan. So therefore everything does not happen according to God's plan. Those things happen because sin abounds in this world. But I want you to know that even though it doesn't happen according to God's plan, God has a plan for everything that happens. And God can make a plan out of a bad situation. Guys, if it is we live according to God's will, yes, everything will happen according to God's plan. But the majority of times, we don't live according to God's plan. We as human beings, me, you, we like to do our own thing. And we step outside of God's plan. But I want you to know today, no matter what circumstance you're in today, however bad that situation might be, God can use that situation to bring good out of it. He could use COVID right now to bring something good out of it. We don't know what next year have in store for us. Yeah? So guys, in the midst of a tyrant, in the midst of a tax, God could do something great in your life. The last T, very quickly, was?
A town.
A town. Yeah, he used a town. You might ask, okay, so what's the big thing about this town? As we said before, there was a prophecy that stated that the ruler was going to come from Bethlehem. Guys, this little town of Bethlehem that we sing about, it was maybe considered one of the most insignificant towns. It was a small town. It's like, what good could come out of Bethlehem? We would think that, here, what? If the God of heaven and earth has to come down, he wouldn't come in a little small country like Trinidad. He will come in America. He will come in Canada. He will come somewhere in England. Right? And Bethlehem was just like little Trinidad and Tobago, all humble and quiet here by itself. And you want to know something? God used that little town to bring his baby Jesus in. Yeah? And I want you to know today, sometimes we might feel like little Bethlehem, that we're insignificant, that we are lesser than, that there's so many other things that's bigger and better than us. But I want you to know today, if you feel like that, you're just the kind of person that our God is looking for. He wants to use those things that seem foolish to the world, that seem low to this world. He wants to use that kind of things to do his miraculous things. And God used Bethlehem. We sing about Bethlehem till this day. I think every single person in this world knows of this town called Bethlehem. And if you allow yourself and avail yourself to be used by God, no matter what you think about yourself, God has bigger plans for you. So guys, that's our encouragement today. He can use a tyrant, he can use a taxing situation to bring about his purpose, and no matter what you think about yourself, he can do something great out of you. Yeah, so that's it for today. I felt like I preached a lot there, guys. Yeah, so we should maybe just close up there now. Guys, so hope you all enjoyed that little session with us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another segment with us, as we'll be dealing about another character. So guys, we love you all very much. On behalf of J Love Ministries, we hope you all have a great Christmas season. Goodbye for now. We'll see you tomorrow. And just remember that the story of Christmas is story of hope. Goodbye.
Bye.